As mop-up operations continue in KwaZulu-Natal, Home Affairs Deputy Minister Njabulo Nzuza is joining us now. He'll be visiting the province tomorrow. This as the department will be assisting affected residents with the replacement of documentation. For more on this, the Deputy Minister is joining us now to tell us a little bit more. Deputy Minister, good evening and thank you very much for your time. Of course, we've seen major devastation in the last week, which of course, as important as it is in as far as what we are looking at in the mop-up, the important thing is the lives that have been lost, but also people have lost vital documents that are critical, I suppose, at this time. What measures are you putting in place for those who lost their documents during this last week of devastation?
Well, good evening and good evening to all the viewers at home. The measures that we are putting up is that we have taken a decision that we will be assisting affected communities. We are going to be going to them using our mobile units, and we are going to be issuing them with identity documents, temporary ID documents, birth certificates, as well as death certificates where they are needed. And it is important to indicate that those who are affected by the disaster will not be expected to pay any amount of money. We are in contact with the local authorities, including councillors. As of today, one of our mobile units is already operating in Mnyama. Tomorrow we are going to be visiting 2 areas in Umlazi where we are going to be assisting those who are affected by the disaster.
Yeah. By way of clarity, let's just go through some issues that probably may arise here. The services you're saying are available at no cost only to members of communities who have lost their documents because of the disaster. What is going to be the identification process then of those who need assistance?
Well, we are in touch with the local municipalities where people are affected. Remember, you had disaster services going in there. They have already sent us the list of the affected people. Together with the local councillors in the areas where we visit, we'll have already pre-arranged with the local councillors, and they will have given us the list. For instance, in the areas that we are visiting tomorrow, we already have the list of the people who are affected and who are confirmed by the local authorities that they were indeed affected by the disaster. So that will be the criteria that we are going to be using. And it is important to note that our offices, either way, are still open for our citizens. The only effect that we have is that out of the 77 offices of Home Affairs in KwaZulu-Natal, 76 are operational. The only one where we had a problem was Chatsworth due to flooding. We have, however, sent a mobile unit there which is assisting our people.
So I was going to come there. Your infrastructure at Home Affairs is not affected at this particular point, except for that one in Chatsworth. Network, everything is online and working as it should.
Yes, everything is working and it is online as it should be. The only affected office is the Chatsworth office. But I must mention that we are having a legacy of systems issues which we are improving, and I indicated when I came here that we are looking at bringing in banks on board so that we improve our technology services. We are already working with them to improve our service offering. But as it stands right now, the only affected office is Chatsworth office. Even there we have made the mitigation by bringing in a mobile unit to help citizens.
So what happens then with those who do come directly to your infrastructure at Home Affairs? What do they need to qualify for these special measures?
Well, if they will be coming from specific areas, we will rely on the information that we have received from the disaster administrators as well as the local councillors. If they indicate that I'm from this ward and have been affected, we are able to go and check according to the list that has been given to us by the local leadership. Then from there, we are able to assist that particular person. But what matters the most is that we are going to be going to them and making sure that we assist them where they are, because we understand the situation they are in.
Yeah. What about people who, Deputy Minister, it's already a week and a half or so later, who've already made means to apply and they've paid for replacement documents?
Well, we'll look into those cases one by one. If they feel that they needed to have a waiver of some sort, we'll look into those cases. But currently we're assisting those who do not have the actual document. Those who are able to make the means, we can look into the cases one by one. But currently the ones who do not have the documents, who need the documents, who were affected, we are going to be offering that particular service for free.
All right. You've mentioned birth certificates. You've mentioned temporary ID certificates. So far in the list of documents that would be as part of this measure of fees that will be waived. What happens with the other documents, important documents of immigration, refugee documents, refugee travel documents, citizenship certificates, permanent resident cards, studying permits, work permits, and so on and so forth?
Well, the other documents that we are going to be offering is actually the passports, those who have lost their passports. Any other person who claims that they've lost a certain document, because we have dealt with this thing in the past. For example, in eThekwini, where there was a fire and people were affected, we went in there, we offered the service, and we offered it for free. So those who have lost any form of a document, and I'm going to make it very clear, it needs to be people who are already on the system, not a person who's going to come and say, no, look, I lost a certain permit, but when you look in terms of the system, that person is not there. Our intention is to help everyone who has been affected by the disaster. That is the major principle that we're operating under. Those who have lost documents due to the disaster of the heavy rains that have happened in KZN and other parts, we will be able to offer them those documents for free. But those who have not been affected by disaster, they will follow normal channels.
Yeah. So let's get this clear then. Will there be reissuing of status documents if they were lost in the disaster and it can be proven?
Yes. We will be reissuing. It is our responsibility to make sure that we reissue any form of document that is within us, that we can verify to be within the system. We always do all the time. If a person loses a certain document, they come to us, we always make sure that we reissue those documents. What is important is that we have maintained quite a credible population register where you find that most of our people were able to download their records. Even now, we are improving how we keep our records with the digitization program that we're carrying out.
Yeah. So critical then to this verification process, Deputy Minister, you're saying those who will want to take advantage of this process of getting their documents that have been lost would first need to contact their disaster management center, because that is where the verification process will take place.
Well, the disaster management centers have already compiled the list of people who are affected. And they will tell us that this is the area, Chelimnyama. They will tell us around Tehesi, Numlazi, you must go there. And when we get there, we will have already received the list from the local councillor, verified with the disaster management centers. So the people that we are actually targeting, we already know them beforehand, because before we could even set up the project of going to people, we had to do a bit of background work, conducting disaster areas, finding out who are the affected people, ultimately developing those particular lists. If a person feels that they've been left out, they can go to their local councillor and indicate that they've lost their documents and they want to be included. And then from there on, we will be able to assist those people. Our aim is just to make sure that no one who lost their documents within due to the disaster does not have a document. Everyone who lost their documents, we must be able to replace those particular documents and reissue them.
How long will this special measure last for?
Well, we are looking at till we have finished all those ones that are affected. So if we still have people on the list, we will keep on assisting. Our aim is not for it to last long. It is about assisting the entire pool. If you have 1,000 people who we have identified, at the end, we can only stop once we have finalized the 1,000 people who are affected. It is not an issue of saying, no, this will last for about a month or so. Our aim is to quickly replace the documents that have been lost. As soon as we finish replacing for everyone who was affected by the disaster, we'll then stop. And again, I'm going to mention that this is not for the first time that we are doing this. It is something that is a policy issue within Home Affairs. We did it previously in the Western Cape, where we had some of the shacks that had burnt down. Even right now, we are in contact with the local leadership in terms of the areas that are affected in Walanga to find a way on how we can assist those people. We are already here in Durban. So it is something that we've been doing over time, and we have to fine-tune as we move along.
Deputy Minister, appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on. Home Affairs Deputy Minister there, Njabulo Nzuza.